Do you know what rhymes with tired? Fired. That is one of the mottos that Diddy's security detail used to say, according to his former assistant. And that's just a little bit of what David James testified to today. We are back with more from that, as well as testimony from Diddy's mother and others. Yeah, an action-packed day. Hello, my fam. It is Perez, the queen of all media, the original influencer, and your number one source for everything Diddy drama. Facing federal charges of racketeering, trafficking, and prostitution, his former personal assistant, David James, today told the jury that another former assistant of his once had to be rushed to the emergency room for dehydration after working a 24-hour shift. Also, during cross-examination, Diddy's defense attorney asked David James why he didn't object when at 4 a.m., Diddy interrupted a freak-off to go confront Suge Knight, and he wanted his assistant to drive him there. Diddy had weapons on him, and his assistant was very scared. David James testified, "Respectfully, sir, when you have someone with 3 pews in that close proximity, I didn't think I had the option to say something." Meaning, not only was he afraid of his life for what might happen, but he was afraid of Diddy. Combs' former assistant testified that the Trump International Hotel in New York City was his favorite. Quote, "They knew me very well because he and Diddy would stay there all the time." The former assistant revealed that he and Diddy's security would regularly bring women back to his house for intimate relations that they had, even bringing back escorts of their own. I pray to God that his children were not there. Diddy didn't want to have a record for buying certain items, his former assistant said. When he would purchase personal items, including condoms, baby oil, and lubricant for Diddy, he would ask security for cash from Combs' bag. We wrapped with the former assistant, and then Cassie's mother, Regina Ventura, took the stand. Regina testified that when her daughter started dating Combs in New York City, she'd see Cassie about just 3 or 4 times a year. When Cassie moved to California with Combs, Regina saw her less frequently. It was harder to get to her, her mother testified today. In 2011, Cassie emailed her mother. Regina testified that her daughter said that Combs was threatening to release explicit tapes of Cassie. The email also said that Diddy threatened to hurt her and Kid Cudi, something that Cassie herself testified to as well last week. She and Cudi dated briefly over a decade ago. Regina, her mother, said she felt physically sick when she read the email. Regina Ventura testified that Diddy demanded $20,000 from her mother to recoup money he had spent on Cassie. Regina said that Combs was angry that her daughter was now in a relationship with Kid Cudi. Her mom says she took out a home equity loan to obtain the $20,000 that Diddy was demanding. His bookkeepers sent Regina an email with wiring instructions, she said, so she went to the credit union and then wired the money from her and her husband's account to the bad boy account. Why she did it? She testified that she was scared about my daughter's safety. Cassie's mom then revealed that about 4 or 5 days later, the money was returned to her account, but she did not have any communications with Diddy about it. Regina told the court about various incidents where she saw Diddy turn aggressive. She said that she once called police after Diddy took Cassie's phone. She also said one time in 2012, Diddy became enraged out of nowhere after one of his employees, Mia, laughed. Quote, "We were standing around talking casually, laughing, and Mia was laughing, and all of a sudden, he didn't want her to, and he asked her what she was laughing at. She shrunk, went pale, and looked very shaken and afraid." The jury was shown evidence, photos that Cassie's mother took of the abuse she suffered at the hands of this monster. And that wrapped up the testimony from her mother, brief, with no cross-examination from the defense. Up next, we have Sheree Hayes, an exotic dancer who goes by the name The Punisher. He recalled the first time that he was hired to create a sexy scene for Diddy and Cassie. It was in 2012 at the Trump Tower. Cassie greeted him with a wig on and a bathrobe with nothing underneath. She handed him a sack of money with $800 inside and told to create a sexy scene of himself and Cassie applying baby oil on each other, and that Diddy would come upon them. The Punisher was also instructed not to look at Diddy and not to have any communication with him. The Punisher reveals that Diddy was at a table watching without any clothes on except for a veil, like a Muslim woman would wear. Oh, okay. Cassie also referred to Diddy as her husband, even though they weren't married. After that first encounter, the Punisher said that he was given, before leaving, an additional $1,200 for a job well done. He revealed that in total, he had between 8 and 12 encounters over the years with Diddy and Cassie. The Punisher revealed that as Diddy became more comfortable in his presence, he switched from wearing that veil that women wear in Arab countries to a baseball cap. The Punisher said that the freak-offs would occur every few months, but last for days. The Punisher testified that Diddy would give directions during the freak-offs. The Punisher said before the jury that he and Cassie would use a considerable amount of baby oil. It was preferred to keep our bodies covered. I guess the look of it, to shine or whatever. It was implied and known by me to keep the bodies covered in baby oil. Hayes testified that each encounter began the same way. It was to create a sexy scene, but I understood that it could escalate to more sexual activity, whether it was oral or penetrative. It appeared to me at some point that this appeared like a fetish thing. Hayes testified that the rooms were all dimly lit and included candles. There were sheets over all of the furniture. And eventually, Combs would instruct him to finish. Finish with liquid. His internal explosion outside. Okay. The Punisher testified that he would use Cialis or Viagra, quote, anything that could help me perform. It was a lot of pressure. And he also testified more, which we will get to in another video, so stay tuned for that. But until then, let's discuss everything we've learned now here in the comments section.